Hey kidders, Jester here. Welcome to the court. Saints Row 4 has just come out, and one of the big features, new important features everybody seems to be clamouring for in this installment of an awesome series is the introduction of superpowers. Now, it's no secret I'm a pretty big fan of superpowers. I mean, I'm a big comic book nerd. I've talked about it before. I've had episodes of the court all about it before. I'm a big Marvel fan in particular, but any TV show or movie that involves superpowers, I'll be there. Just for a few quick examples, some of my favourite TV shows that have included superpowers: Misfits. It's a British series about a group of young offenders that get given powers by a freaky storm. And they're not the only ones, but there's about 3-4 series of that now, and I completely recommend it for anybody who's interested in anything remotely superpowered or just funny. And of course, Heroes, at least Heroes in the beginning, after the whole problem with the writers' strike, it kind of lost its way in my opinion, and it's unfortunate, but it happens. And even Platoon of Power Squadron, which I had a whole episode of the court for a few weeks ago. Yeah, it's technically not a TV show, but it bloody should be. It is awesome. And doubtlessly I'll be nerdgasming all over the place when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. hits the UK in autumn later on this year. And of course, one of my favourite movies, and I'm going to steer clear of ones like X-Men and Spider-Man because they're just really obvious. There's Push, that Dakota Fanning and Chris Evans were in. Fantastic. Oh, and Djimon Hounsou, of course. Can't forget Djimon Hounsou. A fantastic take on the sort of pursuit for psychic powers that supposedly a lot of the government agencies in the past were clamouring for, particularly like the KGB and the CIA and all that kind of thing. A really interesting take on the evolution of that idea and if that kind of stuff had actually worked out. And the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which is basically like the Justice League or Avengers of the 18th to 19th century. Got people like Dorian Gray and the Bride of Dracula. They've even got the original Hulk, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And in a way, they're a very own Captain America in Alan Quatermain and Tom Sawyer. They kind of both sort of come together to fit the role. And of course, you can't ignore all the amazing Marvel films that have come about in the last near decade. Not going to mention DC because they have not done quite as well. Then just fucking assemble. Now, if you're also a comic reader like me, then you know there's a whole plethora of superpowers out there that you don't see on TV and in the movies. Ones that could be considered more obscure, more interesting because they've not been made mainstream. Like you've got your obvious ones like telekinesis and telepathy and flight, even invisibility to an extent. But then there's your more obscure ones like empathy or intangibility, and to a lesser extent teleportation, time travel. People know of these, but they're not as common, not as prevalent. But people know about them. There's the mainstream ones that have been mainstream by movies, and then there's the obscure ones that have been introduced to the mainstream through movies and stuff like that. But what about the really, really, really obscure ones? The kind of powers you'd probably never see on the screen unless someone gets really brave. I've got a few examples, like safe mode. You could argue that this is basically exactly the same as intangibility or what Colossus does with his steel skin in the X-Men, but there's more to it. Those are safe modes in the sense that the power is a form that someone transforms into to escape harm. Obviously, Shadowcat in the X-Men films, played by Ellen Page, intangibility can walk through walls, very much the same thing. And Colossus, in a way, he escapes harm. It's not so much an escape harm as resisting harm, so maybe that one doesn't quite count, but his steel skin. But safe mode as an umbrella term, I prefer the application of someone who can turn into a completely different form, like, say, a puddle of water or a cloud of gas, as a complete defense mechanism just to avoid being punched, say. There are characters out there that turn into puddles of slime because of this power. Food empowerment. Now this one's actually made popular, but people don't realise what it is by people like Popeye and Scooby-Doo and to a lesser extent Banana Man. This is a power in which a particular foodstuff makes someone stronger, more durable, faster, so many different kinds of variations, but it all centres around them having to eat a certain kind of thing. Scooby-Doo has his Scooby Snacks for his courage, Popeye has his spinach for his strength, and arguably speed, and Banana Man, if anybody else out there knows of him, well done. But he eats bananas and he becomes, well, I think he actually becomes from a boy to a grown-up. He's the one that's a little boy, isn't he? Kind of like Shazam. Paint manipulation, this is actually a favourite of mine because I've found a way of relating it to something about myself. If anybody's seen the Elektra film, the one that came off the back of Ben Affleck's Ben Affleck's Daredevil, then there's a character in there with all the tattoos, I think his name was Tattoo, who could make his tattoos come to life. You know, make something of the ink or paint that's on his skin. A paint manipulation is made popular by a Japanese character and something, but I'm not completely familiar with who it is, and I've forgotten the name already, I'm sorry. That white fox with the red, I know the image, the character's been in a load of things, but I can't remember the name. Kitsune, I want to say, but I don't think that's right. But paint manipulation, imagine a graffiti artist or a real artist who can make their drawings come to life and do whatever they want, basically. Really good one, really obscure one, but people will know that it exists, but they don't consider it a superpower, and under this term, but absolute will. That is literally, basically, what nerds and geeks have started to call omnipotence, basically. It's the ability to change anything and everything about the world around you, basically manipulate all of creation with sheer and utter power of will. I mean, that's like basically saying, I want a milkshake. Now I want a donut. Trilby! Now, there are probably far better uses for that power than what I've just demonstrated, but you get my point. And of course, my personal favourite, zombie manipulation. I'm sorry, I couldn't resist throwing that in there, and its title's pretty much self-explanatory, so run with it. So, superpowers, they can be literally anything you want them to be. And this leads us to our question of the week. If you could have any superpower, just one mind, but if you could make like an umbrella term that includes 2 or 3, I'll allow it. What would that power be? Me? I'm torn between telekinesis, telepathy, invisibility, fire manipulation, time travel, healing factor, precog. You know, just a few. I'm still, you know, trying to decide. Well, fuck, to be honest, I'd probably just go for absolute will. It seems like a pretty decent deal. Now, while answering this question, obviously I've already asked. Just the one power, or maybe 2 or 3 if you can figure out a clever way of putting them under one umbrella kind of thing. Still got a donut in my mouth. But also, don't tell me that you want to be a character. That's boring. It's not, you know, it's boring. It's not very interesting. I want you to think about something. You know, kind of create your own sort of superhero personality if you can. Also, things like gadgets and power armors like Iron Man and Batman don't really count. I'll allow it. They're superheroes, but they are not super powered. And while we're on the topic, boys and girls, I just want to get a little bit serious. It's all well and good that we talk about, you know, superheroes that we see on page and in film and on screen and all that kind of thing. But we always, well, we don't always, but sometimes we forget that there are real heroes in the world. And I'm talking real life heroes, real genuine heroes. People out there risking their lives for you, me and everyone every day. Police officers, firefighters, paramedics, the armed forces, just to name a few. Every man and woman that's out there risking their lives to perform a service that we need, whether we agree with a particular organisation's or establishment's way of doing things or not. Because whether you do agree or not, you'll miss them if they're gone, believe me. I've put some links down in the description to some charities around my end for these people, but feel free to go ahead and donate to whatever charities local to you or more relevant to you or more important to you in the same area. And drop us a comment if you do that, you know, share the love, let us know that you've done it, you know, encourage more people to do the same. People don't realise it, but even real life heroes need heroes of their own, and we could possibly be that for them. Alright, thanks for joining me, kidders. It's been real. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like what you see and you want to see more. And while you're at it, why don't you go over and check out jesterconceptions.blogspot.co.uk, where I put out 2 original narratives every week on a Wednesday and a Sunday. Wednesdays actually involve superpowers, so go ahead. Why not? Treat yourself. And don't forget to also leave your comment about what superpower you would have if you could. Don't forget also to check out those links in the description, or go to any other charity you want and help them out as well. And seriously, real life heroes, they're out there. They don't get the luxury of super strength or invisibility, so any support we can give them and their families, go and do that right now. Thanks for watching, boys and girls. I will see you through the week. Jess out! You're still here?